Welcome back, students. After completing the anterior cranial fossa, let's come to the middle cranial fossa. Okay, the question which an examiner asks for the middle cranial fossa is that show me the boundaries of the middle cranial fossa, anterior as well as the posterior boundary. Then you should immediately start showing him with the pointer or with the tip of your finger that it is bounded here by the sulcus chiasmaticus anteriorly, anterior margin. Then it goes to the anterior clinoid process to the margin of the lesser wing of the sphenoid. Then it goes on to the bone, that is the squamous part of the temporal bone, and then it comes to the superior border of the petrous temporal bone. This is the petrous temporal bone and its superior border to that of the dorsum sali. Okay, this is the dorsum to the up to the posterior clinoid process, and then the superior upper border of the dorsum sali. This oblique plate of the bone which is bounding to the hypophyseal fossa is the dorsum sali. So this is on right side, and similar it will be on to the left side, the anterior and posterior and lateral margin of the posterior cranial fossa for the floor. It is this boundary is for the floor of the middle cranial fossa, for the middle cranial fossa. Then there may be question, okay, what are the bony structures which are present in the midline of the middle cranial fossa? You can begin with the sulcus chiasmaticus, okay, and this, if you trace the sulcus chiasmaticus laterally, it will be opening into the optic canal. It will be opening into the optic canal, and there are two roots of the lesser wing of the sphenoid, one above the optic canal, another below that of the optic canal, which forms the boundaries upper and lower of the optic canal, and then projection is that of the posterior clinoid process. These are the root of the lesser wing of the sphenoid, which are taking origin from the body of the sphenoid. So after sulcus chiasmaticus and optic canal, the midline structures will be the other. Here is a deep depression, and this is the hypophyseal fossa. Okay, there may be a rounded elevation onto the posterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus, which is also sometimes called as tuberculum sali. Here, this point, tuberculum sali, and below that, this great deep depression is here, and this is called as the hypophyseal fossa, which gives lodgement to the pituitary gland. And posterior to this self-like projection, bony projection, is the dorsum sali, which has on its lateral angles the posterior clinoid process. This is that process. Posterior, yes, I will show you. I'm just making it oblique. You can see this bony projection. This is the posterior clinoid. On this side it is broken. So this is that the upper margin will form the posterior boundary of this. So these many structures are present in the midline. Okay. Now then he can ask you what passes through this optic canal. You can say that it is the optic nerve and the ophthalmic artery and vein. Okay. That passes covered by the dura, pia and arachnoid matter. The optic nerve is covered by three meninges here. Right. Then there may be a question on to the what are the boundaries of superior orbital fissure? Superior orbital fissure, if you can see, I am trying to show you the superior, yes, which lies here. On this side you can see this, where I will pass the probe here. This is the superior orbital fissure, which lies between the margin of the lesser wing of the sphenoid and that of the greater wing of the sphenoid. I think you can see on this side also the superior orbital fissure. Now this part, if you can see, is the superior orbital fissure is here between the greater and the lesser wing, free margin of the greater and the lesser wing of the sphenoid. Then he may ask you what is the, and on the medial side, this superior orbital fissure is bounded by the body of the sphenoid between the greater and the lesser wing of the sphenoid. Okay. Now, he may also ask you, show the various foramina which are present on the floor of the middle cranial fossa. Beside this fissure, just posterolateral to this medial end of this fissure, there is a foramina here where I am passing the probe, and this is the foramina rotundum through which will pass the maxillary nerve. Still posterolateral to this foramina rotundum, there is an oblique foramina. Okay, see this shape is oval, this foramina on this side, and this is called as the foramina ovale, mainly through which will pass the mandibular division of the trigeminal nerve. Still posterolateral to this, there is one more foramina which is very minute. You can see I will pass the probe in it, and this foramina, okay, this foramina, okay, this is called as the foramina spinosum. The light is seen coming through this foramina spinosum. On this side it is little bigger. See this. This is the posterolateral to the foramina through which gives passage to the middle meningeal artery. Then here, this is the anterior surface of the petrous temporal bone, which will show the hiatus for the greater and lesser superficial petrosal nerve. Okay, this is the lesser superficial petrosal nerve hiatus, and groove is here, and there will be a hiatus here, and it's say fissure for the greater superficial petrosal nerve is here. Then what you will show him also in the foramina, there is a foramina near the apex of the petrous temporal bone. Okay, then this foramina is foramina lacerum, which hardly gives anything that except the lymphatics and some vein imagery. Otherwise nothing passes through this foramina lacerum, which is anterior to that of the apex of the petrous temporal bone. Foramina lacerum is here. Then he can also ask you, where is the arcuate eminence? See this bulging in the anterior surface near the upper border, this bulging. This is the arcuate eminence here, which is in relation to the superior semicircular canal of internal ear, and just lateral to it, this flat bone is called as tegmen tympani, and this is the roof of the middle ear. Okay, that will form the part of the roof of the middle ear. And there is a groove here from foramina spinosum, anteriorly and posteriorly it is extending. You can see this groove from foramina. This is the groove for the middle meningeal vessels. Okay, the anterior branch and the posterior branch, middle meningeal vessel. This completes the most of the question which can be asked on to the middle cranial fossa. Thank you very much for watching this video.